Hashtag RT106724. Hashtag RT106724. Yes, on November 1st, 2021, we at Radio Toko 106.7 FM are celebrating our 24th anniversary of broadcasting. And to celebrate the occasion, we are joining forces with Indigenous PT to present the Great Toko Bake Off, Saturday 20th November. You heard it right, the Great Toko Bake Off, where we're showcasing the culinary skills of Jessica, Lady Jane Murray, and Chef Michael Shornet, and some of the best bakers on the Northeast Coast. We're talking about black fruit cake, coconut bake, sponge cake, coconut bran bread, whole grain bread, sweet bread, tart, banana bread, pone, drops. And wait, that is not all. You could also order Empress Gary's special bacon shack or buljol made with Toko Fisher Folk salted fish. And the best part of all of this is that you get a chance to taste all of this baked goodness by pre-ordering and curbside pickup on Saturday 20th November. Plan a road trip, enjoy the picturesque northeastern scenery, catch a breath of salty air. Or we could deliver to you. Be part of the Great Toko Bake Off, Saturday 20th November. Hashtag RT106724. Radio Toko 106.7 FM, celebrating 24 years of broadcasting, and we're celebrating until the end of the year. For more information and to pre-order, WhatsApp 753-1810 or 797-0949. Sponsored in part by National Flour Mills, Coconut Growers Association, ATM Media, and Z's Cleaning Supplies. And to celebrate the occasion, we are joining forces with Indigenous teaching to present the Great Toko.
Welcome Trinidad and Tobago, welcome the world, welcome to Indigenous TNT. And you just heard big things are going on. We are partnering with Radio Toko, our host, and to bring off the Great Toko Bake Off, the Great Toko Bake Off on the 20th. Multiple pickup locations and everything that you could imagine in terms of baked goods, in terms of pastries, bacon shack, bacon buljol, black cake. You could get a coconut bake, you could get tart, you could get pone, you name it, you could get that. So you could pre-order, you could call 797-0949. There's another number to call, I will give you the details, and pre-order. You could check out the poster on the Radio Toko page or on the Indigenous page, and get all the information on the Great Toko Bake Off. Pre-order, make it a road trip day. Time to go out and just take in the beautiful North Coast Road drive. Go up the North Coast Road, breathing that sea air, that beautiful spiritual drive up the North Coast and that kind of stuff. Bam, hit Sandy Grande and head all the way up, Lansnor, Toko, or Sanssouci, you could go further, you could go Matlot, past Matura, all the stops on the way, enjoy. Of course, you are here, most of you who know it and stuff and things who were here before, you all know why we're here. We're here for part 2,
Shel-Shok.
to pay tribute to the great man, the late, great Sheldon Benjamin, the man called Shel-Shok, and because, a lot of we headed into territory with plenty of the, age when he was going into the hip-hop samples and that kind of stuff, so I dressed appropriately, I just say, just to give the B-boys, give the B-boys a little, give them their props. We're talking about the genius of Shel-Shok, the man who changed the direction of Trinidad and Tobago music at least 5 times, only 40 years old, 300 plus hits, incredible legacy, starting with his work with Amar, Robert Amar, the Kiskadee Caravan, Caribbean Caribbean Song Basin, doing that work and spreading this stuff. Faizabad in the house, big up Faizabad, even Thomas, big up, right? We will see the whole crew coming in. We're seeing Maya Haley inside. Hopefully, we'll see Share. Christian Dobson, Miss Brave Boy, the whole crew, or the whole crew normally check in. Rahil, all the others and that kind of stuff, filter in and stuff. I think, we speak to thousands out there on the terrestrial channel as well as on the Facebook, the YouTube
channel,
and all the other spaces and that kind of stuff that people hear this music. Right, so let's dive straight in. So we reached around the turn of the millennium, around 99 to early 2000s. So Shel-Shok by this time, Amar had closed down effectively. The mafia and other forces had done its thing, and they had brought the great Amar experiment down to the ground. There was a period right after when Shel-Shok, and because of the work he had been doing with Kindred and Homefront, the impact of that work had started to change the sound and the way that of production, and also the way that people were actually writing music. And that was again due to what the impact of Ozzy's song, Homefront song Rolling, and the work that was happening with Homefront and Kindred. So especially that seminal album with those songs that I played for you, Boom Generation and those others with Kindred and that kind of stuff with Jolly Man and those things. Those things changed the course of the thing. Shel-Shok took a time off from Trinidad and he went and based himself in New York, mostly because that's what Marshall and them were also doing. But that was because the sonic center of music was happening in New York, and this was the time of 98. So 98 was that incredible year when Black culture, Black American culture, mainstream in the States and overtook white American culture, meaning rock music and country music. Hip hop took over as the major earning music in America, and you had black models, you had black publishing, you had black movie stars. As the rise of the Trinidadians again, Nia Long, and that kind of stuff, who took over and changed the black acting and that kind of stuff, Black American acting and that kind of stuff. They brought a more naturalistic kind of thing to the kind of more theatrical, stereotypical kind of ways and archetype, those kind of things that Black American, they approached the older generation of actors, that generation with the Tay Diggs and the Nia Longs and those kind of change the vibration and that kind of stuff. Trinis again, right, in the mix. But Shel-Shok was there because it was the sonic center of what was happening with hip hop music, and an era of incredible experimentation in terms of sampling, in terms of beats and that kind of stuff. And New York was its center and that kind of stuff. And Shel-Shok wanted to immerse himself in that sound and that kind of thing. I remember going up there in 98, going to the studio and checking out that kind of stuff and revisiting it a number of times, listening to what he was doing at the time as he leaped into those things. And he also had a whole generation of artists who were trying different things and had different songs that they were exploring. One of them is this girl who is the person who mostly is probably responsible for Caribbean R&B, the sound of the new sound of Caribbean R&B and Caribbean pop and those kinds of things. She was doing this long before a lot of other people were doing it and that kind of stuff. And she was groovy soca long before people were existing in that space and that kind of stuff. Of course, I'm talking about Gaylan, and everybody knows this track.
of all the sugars is the most granulated. Oh God, let's sing more of them. But hear this.
Not because I want to, you want to anticipation of what you want more chance to take over. You feel you are a controller. The music sounding sweet. I want you to wind to the beat. I want you to feel the emotion. Maybe I show some intention. Look me in my eye when I whine. Put your hands in my eyes and see ya. Look me in my eye when I whine. Put your hands in my eyes and see ya. Look me in my eye when I whine. Put your hands in my eyes and see ya. Look me in my eye when I whine. Put your hands in my eyes and see. Hands at the side, put them up high. Hand on the ground or just move along. Hands at the side, put them up high. Hand on the ground or just move along. Look my day, look my day, day. Look my day, look my right day. Look my day, look my day, day. Look my day, look my right day. Look me in my eye when I want it. Follow me. Wine, 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 wine. Wine, 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 wine. Wine, 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 wine. Hey, 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 bamba boom, hey. What's so hard to understand?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to just go right down with the sexiness of Gaylan and that kind of stuff and those kinds of things. And that song was like was a kind of creeper in terms of it was everywhere. Everywhere in the diaspora you went, you were hearing that song. And it really was because it was a kind of precursor to the idea of groovy soca and the idea of that slower form of soca and that kind of stuff. And because of how slick and sexy and those kinds of things and that kind of thing, way ahead of its time, 1999, Gaylan would drop that. They would have a next brilliant song, which unfortunately we weren't able to get, but I know it had a serious sample inside there. So it's possible that the song was pulled from a number of those things. I think which was Soca Tugs, again Rocky and Gaylan featuring there. But again, 1998, Shel-Shok goes there and he starts to work. He's working with Marshall, but he's working especially with this next artist. As I said, the coming out of it would be the great album Atomorphosis, which still remains one of the great Caribbean albums of the last 30-something years. And of course we're talking about the rap artist called Ataclan, Mark Jimenez, right? Big up Chinapu, Mova, big up Bucketeers, and big up Mark, Late Granny, and that kind of stuff, As I said, Shel-Shok immersing himself now in hip-hop samples and those kinds of things, listening to what, the guys doing and that kind of stuff, and kind of going into that mode and that kind of stuff, and to come out on the other side. And so some of it is he's lifting from the hits and that kind of stuff to try and, figure out now how to get this next level of soca, where he wants to take soca. It has to match these other things. And at first he's using those same samples, but as you see, as he goes a little later on, he's able to now incorporate and fuse that kind of feel into what he's doing, and is able to do it without the samples. But this is him at ground zero in New York, in Queens, doing the experiments. This is Spider Jam, Shel-Shok with Ataclan.
Tonight, we gonna fet tonight.
Loud, super blue, knees are done. Climbing on boxes like Spider-Man. He made the crowd wave their hand. Now all you wise up and understand. I going off fet tonight. Give me the hard line. but she give him the best wine he ever had. Oh yeah, we fetting with them tonight, loud.
Sandra getting on bad. Sandra getting on bad. Sandra getting on bad. Sandra getting on bad. Tonight,
We
we
going
gonna fete tonight.
yeah. Me brethren Shok, he so hot. Music have you like you smoking rocks. Big fat beats, yeah we have it a lot. Hear him once and forget him not. Shok and I, we going nuts tonight, loud.
PHT fed, PHT fed, PHT fed, PHT fed, PHT fed, PHT fed, PHT fed. Pretty hot and tempting, pretty hot and tempting.
Well, thank you, clan, for holding the base. It's time for
Shok.
Shel-Shok to take a little taste. A businessman, no time for game. I check your clan as I off the plane. Sit tight, we going nuts tonight. Toot, clan. Shel-Shok. Partner, right.
Tonight, we gonna fete tonight.
Oh, the time has come to hear some brass. I see the crowd, they moving fast. I hear somebody shout, hold your it's your darling, I am playing my CI. No back chat tonight. Give me the online.
No back chat tonight.
It escalate to the mass maker.
So no back chat.
Savannah.
No back chat, and if you know Clanny and stuff, Clanny is a man who no back chat Clanny. You know, he would hit you like he would hit you a slap coming from on so you know, right? As he has done to some people. Right, so 1999, you know, Shok is up there doing those things. He puts out his own album from his Bad Naras label, and it is incredible particular stuff because he takes a lot of what you would call unknown artists and that kind of stuff, and he shows that it have nothing to do with name of artists and that kind of stuff. It just has to do with the Shok touch, and he's able to, you know, spin that into hits and that kind of stuff. And the Bad Naras album was the beginning of a series of Shok albums where he was doing that kind of stuff. And with some of the things were real playful, what he would do on those albums. 2000 comes, and Shok decides to shake stuff up in a number of different ways. So they have a number of things that start to change this thing. So he starts to have these collaborations with somebody who you never would think. He starts to collaborate with Iowa George, right? Changing Iowa's sound and bringing Iowa into the kind of modern space and that kind of thing. The brilliant thing about that collaboration, Shok would tell us that Iowa's energy is what is the most polite way to say this? But what is I can't say it. I always say that this is not an insult or anything, but Iowa's energy is old nigga energy, right? Is is that kind of energy that does not respect respectability. Right? Is that energy that don't respect respectability, right? It's like is no pronunciation, is no manners, no, is that period, as I was saying in an article I wrote and stuff. Iowa energy is that thing, that last 30 seconds in a Sesame Street skit where everything going wrong and the set falling down and that kind of thing, and pop muppets and stuff that's moving around and that kind of thing, and things falling down and everything that could go wrong went wrong and that kind of stuff. That's when Iowa does appear. And that is energy. So Shok is the opposite. Shok is finesse and real cleanliness and that kind of stuff and that kind of thing. And Shok would say, Iowa understands his energy so much. I would, after Shok put down all kind of thing, say, I would like, nice, that real nice. Now we're going back and you're going to dirty up you're gonna dirty up the track in these spots here and that kind of stuff and thing, or that vocal too clean. Yeah, do something with that and dirty that up and stuff and make that more wild and I think that beating Iowa's energy was kind of important to Shok in terms of getting that kind of anarchy energy into the music. So on one hand, he was getting the hip hop stuff and all those kind of things, but with Iowa, he was getting a kind of wildness that that he wasn't getting in all of the other things that he get. And we'll see again the fruits of all these kinds of encounters that he's having. But also the other important thing is that this is him spreading out from just the Marshalls and a couple of the others and stuff and that kind of thing, and really heading into changing the course of stuff, because this is the beginning of Iowa as road march threat, beginning with these kinds of things. So let's check it out. That collaboration, Iowa, all in this song. Big tune.
Me say you wake up in the morning and you just realize carnival come back again. And you're looking for your flag and you can't find your flag. And stand one ready to jump. Show me your hands. Me say you wake up
Sesame
in the
Street.
morning and you just realize
Everything fall down.
come back again. And you're looking for your flag.
The Muppets running all over the place. Wildness and things. You're still mashing up. Pets 20 something years later, like the first time.
It's still. Ain't stop at all.
We have the night of the session. Song boy, man, a tune like this, you have to bring it up. Me say you wake up in the morning and you just realize carnival come back again. And you're looking for your flag and you can't find your flag. Band start, man, ready to jump. Show me your you see your flag in your hand now. Show me your just realize carnival come back again. And you're just up in your costume crossing the stage. You can't find your flag to wave. Me say you wake up in the morning and you just realize carnival come back again. And you're looking for your flag. You can't find your flag. You're looking. You're showing your So this is Road March 2000. This is Ty. He tie with Super Blue. You see, so this is a kind of change in the guards in terms of the old school kind of production and a new school kind of production represented by Shok.
Yeah. Right. So 2 years before that, 3 years before that was Big Truck. Right. That was the first road march. And now I want stuff which is a different kind of energy and that kind of stuff and thing enter the space and that kind of thing. So Shock started to feel that other kind of thing. So now that same year, he also experimenting with putting down tracks as well, right? So rhythms, putting out rhythms and stuff for the carnival and that kind of stuff, right? So he puts out a rhythm, um, the Y2K Juve rhythm, right? So he does one, and there are two significant things that happen and that kind of stuff. So he does one with Marshall. So let's check out Y2K Juve. And so this is him getting into the Juve space and that kind of stuff, which he also started to touch with. He had touched with Tree Canal. And this is him and Marshall on the groovy tip, slowing down for the Juve. So now you check it out, Y2K Juve.
Well, it's Juve again, introducing the Y2K rhythm. You done know.
The hip hop samples. So you see how he working it in the sound, right? Hip hop dropping inside the Juve flex, crossover to the Latin. This is reggaeton before it had reggaeton. Right? Oh, by the way, reggaeton is soca. Soca is reggaeton, eh? This thing about dance, so all that thing. Reggaeton is soca, right? So he had that stuff there. So you see how all the things start things, right? The slow down kind of thing, the Juve stuff, the hip hop flex, the hip hop samples, all those kind of things come in here and that kind of stuff. And Shock's continued commitment to bringing this stuff into the modern, continually working with artists who hearing those kind of shifts, and he bringing the production elements in it. So of course, he works with muses, he works with artists and stuff who interested in those things. Ataclan gives him a particular kind of flex to go down in certain directions. Tree Canal give him a certain kind of flex, just like how Kindred and Homefront gave him that in the earlys and stuff. And Marshall for this period is also that. But Marshall's collabs, because Marshall also is a person who also continually searching for modernity and will collab with people who he think have that next thing. And one of the artists who always has been on next and that kind of stuff for at least 2 to 3 decades now has been Maximus Dan, formerly Magadan, now MX Prime with the Radicals. Right? So check out one of the sexiest songs of the last 30-something years in soca and that kind of stuff. Collab with Marshall and Magadan. This is love. This is R&B, love soca, slow down in that mode and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? This is romancing your babes, soca style. Love to Love You Tonight, Marshall with Magadan, you know, and Shel-Shok finessing it.
Make some love
Check
for the
it.
girls now. One track.
Yo, well, this is a M&M collaboration.
No.
Marshall Montano alongside you, let's go Magadan.
Any sample and stuff.
I'm in love.
The hip hop kind of stuff.
What we say?
All girl them put up your hand. All girl if you do have a man. All girl them put up your hand.
Well, people, let me not say what. Wheel, the real slackness happened to this song, right? Because this song inside our pocket, right? This is against the fence kind of thing. This is against the fence kind of stuff.
I'm in love.
Girls,
up your hand. All girl if you do
girls,
have a
look at
man.
them, yeah.
All girl them put up your hand. All girl if you do have a man.
I met a girl in a red catsuit.
See the girl there, see the girl there.
Brown eyes, brown hair, so cute.
See the girl there, see the girl there.
The body of a earth angel.
See the girl there, see the girl there.
Dimples like a wishing well.
See the girl
She
there.
got trouble, Marshall. But every time I look, she watch me.
How unconventional drop
Staring games that make me crazy.
structures in our next one. Not a conventional beat maker.
What you wanna do? 'Cause I'm telling you, at first sight I think my love is true. Oh baby, do, darling, when the party over, oh girl, give you the thing, I'll give you the thing, I'll give you the sweet thing, darling, when the party over, oh girl.
Graduate from a X-rated college. Country show your X-rated knowledge. Y'all just request the long brown sausage. Between your fingers and favorite cabbage. Don't be shy, we gonna be send the message. All of your business, me come to manage. Just ambush me and pull me active. Can me wanna do some damage? Yeah.
Darling, when the party over, I wanna give you the thing, I'll give you the sweet thing, darling, when the party over, next one says she looks so sweet,
See the girl there, see the girl there.
dark brown like a chocolate tree.
See the girl there, see the girl there.
Mama always used to say, let some things pass someday. I never go astray now. But every time I look, she watch me. What yo, this staring game driving me crazy. What yo, I want to know tonight, girl, what you wanna do? 'Cause I'm telling you, at first sight I think my love is true. Oh baby, you, darling, when the party over, I'll give you the sweet thing, darling, when the party over.
blazing, like a fire blazing. Hey, 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 hey. Darling, so we say, party over. I wanna make love to you tonight. Give you the thing, I'll give you the thing, give you the sweet thing. Darling, party over. I wanna make love to you tonight. So we say, all girl them put up your hand. All girl if you don't have a man. All girl them put up your hand.
On hand outside, the girls, right? And then that's it.
Good thing, man. Good thing. Good thing, man.
So,
Good thing.
I mean, you can run that song, you can run that rhythm right through, and you know, you can listen to that right through and that kind of stuff. Girls, right? I mean, that song probably real babies make because of that song and that kind of stuff. You know, because that's the power of the stuff and the power of what they were doing and the shifts and that kind of thing. Remember, this is the same person who just produced that other song with Iowa. And you know, like that craziness and that kind of stuff. This is the next space and that kind of thing. That same year, again, as I said, Shel-Shok working with the muses, right? The ones who allowing him to leap out and those kind of stuff. And this is where he started changing music again, you know, by his work with these particular sets of artists. You start to hear him fleshing out a new kind of space for the Juve music and the Juve rap. So, and creating a new kind of space for a new type of Trini song, because of where he had started with Homefront and Kindred and those kinds of things, and where Clanny was offering a particular kind of hard mode and stuff, but with Tricanal he was also getting this other thing. And so this song, kind of the whole minor key thing and that kind of stuff, one of the two great songs he did with this band that kind of shifted the tone of where the music could go. Check it out. You know this song?
Please, sir, may I have some more?
The Latin stuff that the Latin mode.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Ready to deal with the vampire steady boy, this wrong. You have to be strong, able to decipher the right from the wrong. I say this wrong. You have to be able, good your loins, get ready for the battle cause this wrong. Them boys ain't joking, so you got to keep your child smoking. In all kind of guises, not to mention a range of sizes. Utilizing the latest devices, these days rap was full of surprises. Bang your belly and wine for your jersey. Bang your belly for the rum and the roti. Long is round is back and out. In other words, the politics as usual. You like it, so don't play, you don't know how the thing does go. Stay in your corner and wind down low. You get nothing and you like it, so nothing, something, no. You get nothing and you like it, so nothing, something, no. It's nothing for you and you like it. Just the other day, not long ago, them suya in the night used to glow. But nowadays, they're very brazen, flying in the day with the pockets laden. Change the skin, all the skinning and the grinning. Set up the self and then they start sucking. Sucking for their partner, sucking for their friends. Who sucking and they sucking like it have no sucking end. And hidden frenzy is at hand. So we are sucking the blood of the land. So we gonna suck you chin, chin, chin. You better put some salt on your skin and brace yourself for the ball of fire. You'll be come to build the empire. Brace yourself for the skinning and the grinning. Blood in the mouth and hear what they say. No, nothing for you and you like it so. You don't know how the thing does go. Stay in your corner and wind down low. There's nothing and you like it so. Nothing is something. No, it's nothing for you and you like it so. Nothing is something. No, there's nothing and you like it. If it licks you like, then take licks. And if it blows you like, then take blows. Dracos coming in a big bloody bag. Dracos coming to put out your life. Dracos coming to cleanse your heart. Mash up the place, divide it in half. Hey, you going with all that money, boy? Or where you going with all the people money? Hey, you going with all that dough? Where you think it is at all? I'm sure. What you gonna do when the people come for you? What you gonna do? I say, what you gonna say when the people come your way? What you gonna say? What you gonna tell them? No, nothing for you and you like it so. Don't play, you don't know how the thing does go. Boy, stay in your corner and wind down low. I don't think so. People ain't taking that. So no, people ain't taking that. The people ain't taking that. No, the people ain't taking that. The people ain't taking that. I say the people ain't taking that. The people ain't taking that. No way, the people ain't taking that. Vampire come in to launch the attack. Slap on the face, but I stab in your back. What about the issues? What about the facts? This wrong, the people ain't taking that.
Damn, big tune, and this is the kind of return to the Rapso into the carnival again after the fight down and the exile of the Rapso is continual battles. The Rapsos have to battle with the mafia and that kind of stuff for his space and that kind of thing. Clanny and stuff have his serious battles. He has fought, hand on cheek, like with the mafia and stuff, like serious up close and that kind of thing, and they were able to silence the Rapso for the thing. But this song was so irresistible, it was once again able to put the Rapso on there again. Again, he had the Latin influences with Shock and those kind of stuff and those kinds of things. So this particular year, as I said, and that this 99, 2000 and that kind of stuff, where I say like we heard, this thing with Iowa. Then you heard him working with the Juve mixes and working with the sound of Juve as a way to kind of slow down the soca and to go into a different space and to give it mood and to different those kind of things. Maximus flexing there with Marshall to give it a different dimension and those kinds of things. Tricanal, give it another thing. This song released on Carnival Tuesday, right? They only finished this song on flicking Carnival Tuesday. I remember this was the second to last year of Poison. This is the year when Poison hit between 16 to 18,000 revelers, right? Of that 16 to 18,000, 16 to 18,000 is woman, right? It was ridiculous. Poison was ridiculous. I remember like crossing Poison coming up from downtown and that kind of stuff, all the way up Charlotte Street, all the way across Memorial Park, and all the way on just before going on stage. All of that was Poison. And Poison must be hours in that space and stuff, trying to cross the stage or crossing the stage or whatever, and that kind of stuff. It's the most amount of women in one space ever in my life. You know what I mean? It was, thank you God for that. So we we just we just I mean, and we know real well women in the band and that kind of stuff. So I mean, we just stay right there on just before going on stage and that kind of stuff, and we, Lord, eh, Lord. So thank you, Father. So the thing though, the magic of the thing, they always have songs that kind of conjugate the magic of a year and that kind of stuff and allow things to happen, allow magic and things to happen, allow connection to happen, allow wildness, whatever. This song released on Carnival Tuesday, during Carnival Tuesday, when everything happened already. And this is not no kind of big release and stuff, big artists and whatever. Gaylan must be just get the track in she hand and was able to drop it on a couple trucks and that kind of stuff. And this song was the magic song. When I heard this song, it was like, oh my God, what is it? What the hell is that? Who is that artist? Like, what is this song? I mean, and it was not only because I was jumping up with 18,000 women. Okay, that had part to do with it. But the thing is, it was that if it did not have the soundtrack, if it didn't have the soundtrack for it and stuff, it just might have been, well, this made it a divine kind of space and that kind of stuff. This is incredible magic road music. I wish that she had the runway of weeks where people could have heard this song and could have gotten into their DNA and it was playing all over, because this would have been a road march contender. The song was so magical and that kind of stuff. It just had a thing about it. And again, it's the magic of Shel-Shok, and again, the magic of Gaylan. And I know Destra had something, I don't know if it was originally for Destra or it switched, or she was supposed to be in the track, it didn't happen, or whatever. She's normally represented as being on the track. I don't hear it, I think it's just Gaylan on it. Street Controversy, one of the magic ones. Road Music, 2000. Put that loud. Yeah.
Street controversy, just listen to me. Everybody here just can't jump in. See me on the road in the pizza club. Everybody here just can't jump in. If you see me inside the van, if you see me, I'm winding up with somebody, man. If you see me, it's the man that you watching face. See me, them man and them only watching ways. Don't you watch it, don't you watching ways. Don't you rush it, don't you rush it, babe. Don't you touch it, don't you touch it, babe. Don't you watch it, don't you rush
Tactile
it, babe.
song.
Never see me run before you're out there, keep watching me. I feel if I'm wine, I'm going to send them the crazy. For the longest while, them men, them out there, keep asking me. I feel like I'll show them, so just watch me, just watch more ways. When they see me whining, 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 watch more ways. Street controversy, just listen to me. Everybody here just
Chorus.
jump in. See me on the road in my pizza club. Everybody here just jump in. If you see me inside the van, if you see me, I'm winding up with somebody, man. If you see me, they say them and they
Lyrics
watch
coming up here.
them man and them only watching ways. Don't you watching, don't you watching ways.
It's like an old brass section.
Don't you rushing ways. Don't you touching, don't you touching ways. Don't you watching, don't you rushing ways. See me on the ground, see me wine around, see me touch my toe, see me wine and low, see me coming through. We do what find a crew. We don't have to tell it 'cause they don't know what to do. Street controversy, just listen to me. Everybody here just not jumping. See me on the road in the pizza club. Everybody here just not jumping. If you see me inside the van, if you
Lance Melody. Shok doesn't get in the way of himself or the artist. Pure rhythm, the perfect kind of container for an artist. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, boy. Lazama boy, memories, serious memories. Like that, what I tell you, like that song with the 18,000 woman was just like, it was perfection. I mean, they just, that the DJs like, and you know, there's no mafia, right? Because there was no chance of that song winning no road march or any kind of stuff. It was simply that people loved that song when they heard it for the first time on Carnival Tuesday, right there on the track. Is the first time people hearing that song. And Shok and Gaylan just do it, you know? And that song was just like, you know, one of those songs that if it just had the runway, you know, it would have done it. You know, I mean, that remains one of my favorite Carnival memories and one of my favorite Carnival songs in terms of that. And the thing is about, I have to come back to Gaylan, is that Gaylan again, this is not a conventional soca song in any way, form, or fashion. She's not doing any of the things that normal soca singers are doing. You know, it's a song, you know. She just, you know, I mean, it is, you know, and it's just, but Gaylan's just composing, you know, like an R&B singer or like just a songwriter and stuff in that space, you know, and it just happens to be faster, you know, the beats are just happen to be, the clicks just happen to be faster and that kind of stuff. But, you know, that's the beauty of Gaylan and Street Controversy, one of those songs that, you know, so 2000 happened and those kind of things. Now 2001 now, we have a song that we played a number of times, Sugar Daddy's song, Sweet Soca Music. Soca is it young they need, the one with the Rolling Stones sample. We ain't playing that song again because we played it at least 3 times because of different kinds of charts we've been running and that kind of stuff. I didn't even know Shok produced that song, and I guess it is said that is our first gold album. You know, that's a 250,000 seller. You know, and I think the numbers have crossed that, and it's gone on. At that time, it was 250,000 units sold. I should have known Shok, you know. And again, there's the samples, use of samples, and those kinds of things. Those kinds of things. But again, Shok's commitment to groovy soca and slowing down the soca and those kinds of things and finding that. And I've always told Bunji, his best songs, I know he liked the lyrical, you know, I know he loved that, and he thinks that that's what the crowd like and that kind of stuff. But the thing is, I tell Bunji, like, that's his international hit is not that. His international hit is him slowing down everything down. I said, Bunji, your best, and I tell his musicians that your best stuff is your minor key, slower songs. You see, a minor key, slower, groovy songs, that's the ones where you nail your relationship with your audience and that kind of stuff, and you get your people to groove and your audiences to groove, and those be songs that could cross over. This is one of those, and when the early ones that showed that Bunji had that gear in him, of course, Shok is the man behind it. Bless you.
Do I walk to the valley of the shadow of death? I will fear no evil. One
of my
person
favorite
in my life, me a ill Rastafari. Though some people want to pat me down and see me as a black boy rise to the different price. So what if my merchandise? It can't work, guys.
Yeah, Bungie. See, this song should be in your set all the time. Trust me on this one. Put this back inside the set all the time. Watch the crowd and stuff, hold their hand and stuff and thing, and your minor key slower songs, but trust me. I want people to like, smash that like button, and get more people inside here listening. All the haters and them. God knows. I'm the guy. No one can take lessons from me. Hold on. When it come to me blessing, there's no compromise. Make sure it lock, stock, and synchronize. Never believe that one day it would arise. When Father God would open up my eyes, put me on a chair, get to realize that when a black man in start to rise, the one black brother will take the prize. Give some the talent and the merchandise. That's because them wolf in a sheep disguise. Yeah, so none of them can take the prize. Yeah, when me hear Rastafari, thank God he is higher than the high. So no one can take lessons from me. No one can take lessons from me. Yeah, no one can take lessons from me. No one can take lessons from me. Hold on. Now let me talk it briefly and prompt. I employ the critics every week and month. If it was not for me, they would not be rampant. I make them stampede like elephant. So wait, let me give the critic it blunt. Every critic call your mother's front. I will talk what I say what I want. You think that this talent come here by your son? If Father God will bless me with it back and front. So on me first year, you want me to flunk. You cut off me neck and show me in your trunk. Yo, blessing is still coming on. So what me saying? No one can take blessings from me. No one can take blessings from me. No, because I've been blessed by the Almighty. Yeah, no one. You know why some of them jealous me memorize? Yeah, this. Got face to face, man, them me never to defeat me, them shall never. Intellectual and clever, make them blood run like a river. Them a the take, I'm here the giver, make them quiver, make them shiver, make them blood run like a river. Feel the judge, feel the red, you know me red, I feel the bad, you know me mad, I feel the bad, you know me mad. I must be the right and out the order. Half of them go climb the ladder, get them on the border. Half of them go come in the face and playing God, I'm playing God. Enough of them go see me like a bruise of a feather, but of a feather flock together, die together. You and your brother, me no care what is your brother, fill them up like a paper shredder. It's me take the cheese from the cheddar. So when me ball, no one can take blessings from me. No one can take blessings from me. No one can take blessings from me. No one can take blessings. Hold on. Father God, you bless my soul and my heart all time and day. Half of them will jump up and to play, but I know you're not in a no area. I'm with me passionate. Satan done send him dragon, but that will get this way. And one time me I go put Satan away. The Bungie darling when talk and say. So when me ball, never believe that this thing it would arise. When Father God could open up me eyes. Cause when a young black man start to rise, the one black brother just wants it's cutting off the raga soca is reducing the Jamaican dancehall kind of space, as also Magadan and Bungie and them kind of finding their Trinidadian voice by kind of going through Bounty Killer, like finding their voice through the kind of Bounty Killer kind of sound, finding the urban black Trinidadian voice and that kind of stuff. As they're doing that, Shel-Shok is also doing that with the production, right? So you had people who was, when they were doing the raga soca, was kind of clearly kind of going with that dancehall stuff, and you could see now the dancehall influence is not present there in the music as an element so much as a profuse kind of influence inside of the mix and that kind of stuff. You can hear it in the approach of the bass, the way he approaches the bass and that kind of stuff, but the bass is not that. The bass is more, he's finding the corresponding kind of thing through the Juve bass. So you hear that Juve bass there is what anchoring the groovy soca sound and that kind of stuff, but it's played like a reggae bass or a dub bass and that kind of stuff. And of course, there is no classifying Shel-Shok's drums and percussion and his use of drummers. It's not conventional in any way, form, or fashion. neither his arrangements. It's pure kind of primal kind of rhythm coming at you. So 2002, this track is mostly the late, great, the legendary Andre Tank. I had the pleasure of seeing Andre work and craft this track. You know, plenty of people say it's a tricanal track, and this is not a tricanal track. It's an Andre Tanker track with tricanal on it as vocalist and that kind of stuff. But this is an Andre Tanker track, and this was very much Andre's kind of swan song because he died shortly afterwards. And so this is all of the folk elements that Andre kind of had in him, kind of now using the search for Ben Laden and that kind of stuff, and the terrorist thing of the moment and that kind of stuff, as well as Trinidad corruption and all kind of other things and stuff thrown inside there, and the mix and that kind of stuff, international and local politics and the immortal Trinidad smart man kind of thing all inside there. It's a folk song, which is what Andre Tanker kind of excelled at, you know, Siamanda and a Basement Party and all these things are incredible kind of urban folk songs. And it's probably for the latter part of the 20th century with Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of us say that Andre Tanker was the greatest artist of that period of the 70s come forward to the 2000s in Trinidad, simply because of its influence on all types of artists, whether it be painters, musicians, sculptors, filmmakers, and that kind of stuff. Something inside that cluster of 6 or 7 Andre Tanker songs, which were the public ones, but everybody knew, River and all of those ones. There was something located in it that was essentially Trinidad and Tobago, and that was a way of being that was essentially Trinidad, and that everybody was reaching for in their art, and it was the highest distilled form of ourselves in that music, and we were all reaching for it, and Andre had already found it, and this is him just kind of more enjoying the kind of folk element of himself with this song Ben Lion, with Tricanal, with Shel-Shok, just taking it into the modern kind of space a little bit, but most of it built up by Andre, but given that sheen. Everybody who inside the chat, hit that like button and shout out something, say how you enjoy the program in your comments and those kind of things. And Klachi, what is the if they want to drop a sound, a WhatsApp song note, what they have, what's the number for them?
Okay, so good night everybody. We'll be using the 749-9941. That's 1868-749-9941. That's the number we'll be using for tonight, because I ain't have the next number up. So
right. And so we have New Jersey in the house. We have a whole set of people in the house. We have a shout out to Toko Nikki, shout out all of those who inside and that kind of stuff. Marcia, we check out all parts of Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, we will drop the thing for the Toko Bake Off. We will drop that ad coming up a little later. But let me enjoy the late great Andre Tanker, Shel-Shok, and Tricanal, Ben Lion.
Say wine right down to the ground and mash up the place. just hot wine. Ben lion, Ben bad man. Why you wine so I get on all in the people place? Ben rude boy, Ben bad boy. Say you wine right down to the ground and mash up the place. Wadi dum dum badam bang, wadi dum dum badam, wadi dum dum badam bang, wadi dum dum badam, wadi dum dum badam bang, wadi dum dum badam, wadi dum dum badam bang, wadi dum dum badam. They want you to misbehave, to come out your cave and wave. They want you to form a line, to stand up and whine. But you too fast on your feet, and you know your way around the street. The way you're shifting from side to side, they can't get inside. Aiming wide, Ben lion, Ben bad man. Why you whine so I get on all in the people place? Ben rude boy, Ben bad boy. Say you whine right down to the ground and mash up the place. All Caribbean, oh oh, come inside the bed, all American. Oh oh, come inside the bed, all Afghanistan. Oh oh oh, the more the better, yet it's one world, a free world.
Pure folk sensibility. This is Andre Tanka at his best. This is what Andre was all about. Trinidad as village and the power of that.
He say what is yours is mine. Bring Madonna to help him move was a waste of time. So he said for Jennifer, a hip dancer, just to get him to move in time. But the man can't whine, he just can't whine. Ben lion, Ben bad man. Why you whine so I get on all in the people place?
Let's get some good stuff.
Ben bad boy. Say you whine right down to the ground and mash up the place.
Right, so
They say that they catch a man. They think that is Ben
So we had that space shock again. All of these songs, right? It's 300 plus songs. A 40-year-old. This is basically in 20 years. 300 hits, right? I mean, this is one man producing all these things as we coming down the road and that kind of stuff. Now, the next year now, oh no, that same year, this is like to tell you is that if you're going to debut as an artist, you can't do worse than having Shock as your producer for your first song. And Benjai, cue song.
I'm fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. 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 Yeah. I went and take a bush back before I write the song. Cause every time I record like something going on. Inside the I'm on too late, the computer shut down. But every year I hear in the same repetition. I fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. 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 It has some writers out here like them no really care. It's either jump and wave or hands up in the air. And man, he had a big tune that mash up everywhere. He turned on up two more lines and sing it back next year. I fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing over and over. Fed up of the same thing.
It's hard to explain to people who weren't there how much this song mashed up the place when it came out that year. It's really hard to get people to understand how much this song mash up and kind of with the introduction of Benjai as a force and that kind of stuff with this song. The simplicity of him and his wildness and that kind of stuff. Again, Benjai is a kind of little brother kind of version of that Iowa energy where they have everything falling down on the he had on clothes while singing that song. Yeah, so I ain't going in it. Right? I mean, so Benjai had that same capacity and stuff, and of course, Pardoning with Shock, which your first release is, you can't do better than that. Right? 2005, so now a lot of those things, all those experiments, hip hop, Juve, Gaylan, the R&B mix, the raga soca, all those things, the sampling, all those things kind of come to a head now in 2005 in one of these ways and that kind of stuff. In these next 2 years, you will kind of hear where these things kind of gelling in Shock's brain and that kind of stuff. This song is a song that kind of changed the trajectory simply because of the artist who was singing it. And, you know, when he does something, then, you know, it kind of signal, even though others might have been doing it and showing that, hey, the thing shifting, when he do it, that means that, yeah, that means the thing happening for truth. This song kind of signal that the new music had now taken root. And this song kind of changed the thing again. You know, it deepened the capacity of groovy soca to in that R&B space and that kind of stuff. It modernized the sound even further of soca in terms of the sound and the tones and all those other kinds of stuff and those kind of things and the production and the brightness and all those other kinds of things. And it took it into another space and stuff. I'm talking about Machel Montano and Dance With You.
Let's wine tonight. Let's wine tonight. Let's wine tonight. Let's wine tonight.
This is the remix, Marshall on pressure. Song so sweet, it's dangerous. How will you get up off your feet and dance for us? So hit them one from the razor shop.
Baby girl, bring out my dancing shoes. This one goes out to my girl.
Yeah, they had plenty remixes with this song, collabs with all kind of artists on the mainstream, Latin, all about the place. So this song was inside that popping. This is wheel everything. I need people to also understand what was happening here. Machel had been off the soca scene for a while because he had got an international record deal. I think it was Warner or whatever. He was working as it's done when they think you are the next big thing. You're giving all the top songwriters and stuff, all the top the Swedes are the top songwriters, all the pop music here and thing. The biggest pop song is the Swedes and stuff. All the top songwriters and stuff. Machel does about 100 songs with the top songwriters and that kind of stuff. And they want none of them. The label who has spent the money and thing, whatever, they listen to all of them and they like, nah, 100. No, that's millions of dollars we're talking about spending. That investment, you know, each one of them songs, you know what I mean, in the studio demoing it and that kind of stuff. And it comes to nothing. This is the second time Machel, or the third actually, that Machel has been in a kind of space with a major label thing, whatever, and nothing happens. But something does happen. For plenty of people say that was a failure. Machel he doesn't get the international record deal. And that has been a bugbear that is on Machel's head, is something that is, you know, I mean, even when Machel ruled the diaspora, filling up Madison Square Garden, 5,000 people at 150, 200 US a pop and that kind of stuff, break the model of how soca is modeled and that kind of stuff and that kind of thing, making 51 million. As our calculations, the Artists Coalition of Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I mean? And still, that international thing, well, but Machel works with the top songwriters on planet Earth for about 2 years. he is in the school, let's call it the finishing school with the greatest songwriters. And what Marshall learns is how to swing the thing. So probably they were doing it the wrong way. You know, like when they take like a Latin artist or whatever and they try to make them a pop artist and that kind of stuff, all these is fail. Plenty times you hear when they're trying too hard with these artists from outside of the pop genre, and they put them inside the pop genre and they're trying to swing this person and make them a crossover artist and stuff, and it don't work. You know? What Marshall started to do for the next couple of years was write soca music from within a pop sensibility. And the only reason that none of these songs were not taken up by major labels was because they had been burned by him by signing him for the last 3 times. So they thought that nah, we can't risk millions already get sunk into this artist and nothing came of it. But something did come of it. And it changed the course of soca music because now the sophistication, I remember before that when Marshall was at Engine Room, Robin Foster, big up Robin Foster, Pa Foster, Carliston Panto, the whole crew who was up there in thing, David Rudder and all that crew that made Engine Room such an incredible place during the 90s for young artists to learn and to incubate. They sent Marshall to the finishing school for producers. So Marshall actually knows how to produce music at the top level and that kind of stuff. He's a producer at the top level, one of the greatest schools in the world in terms of musical producers. And now he adds to that this period of 2 years spent with the greatest songwriters. I had to stop that track because the result of that is this track and the series of tracks that come after that, which now create a kind of sophisticated soca pop that has never existed before within the mode of that and stuff because of this stuff. And of course, the only person who could translate that is the man Shel-Shok, Sheldon Benjamin. Rest in peace. Let me take in this song again, which is the next transformation of soca music by the man Sheldon Benjamin.
Let's wine tonight. Let's wine tonight. Let's wine tonight.
This is the remix, Marshall on pressure. Song so sweet, it's dangerous. I want you get up on your feet and dance for us. So hit them one from the razor shop. Razor shop.
Baby girl, bring out my dancing shoes. This one goes out to my girl. You gotta move those happy feet to the beat that we go. Yo, come on. We gonna go a bed tonight. I said, come on, yo. So we gonna feel a sweat tonight, yeah. I said, come on, yeah. We gonna rock
So now, don't get me wrong, eh? So I say like that track was big. That track is thing, and that again, memories, real memories when that song come out. Holding, I mean, that take the romance in the music to a kind of next level, and that kind of stuff and thing, right? Organically. At the same time, you doing that. Shok still there. Shok still on the street, eh? Shok still doing music for the street. Yeah, I mean, like, pull up, run the track, DJ. This is the same Marshall and Shok again. Same year. Now, right, relax. This is our next one that mash up. Now, a lot of the mad songs and that kind of stuff that Marshall had and stuff is KMC write them. Eh? So remember, KMC had the mad songs first and that kind of stuff, and he started to write a number of the mad songs for Marshall. So you have Marshall, Shok, KMC, all inside that and stuff. Big tune, mash up the place, madder than that. Run it, Clatchy. Shocky! Hey God, boy, oh God. What you wanna be doing now, boy? Oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh God, Shok, boy. Oh God. Hey! What you wanna be doing now, boy? What kind of match is this? Hey! Hey! God. Wow. Yeah. Hear this thing. Inside. Now remember that song that was a playful song with Too Shy? Hear how what he learned in that song with Too Shy come back here. Nah. Raise it back up. Right, so it's that same thing I want to just hear how Shok, don't forget right? Of course, all this time, Shock working up and down the islands, eh? The road march that year and Soca Monarch in Grenada by Boogie B is Shock. Run the track. Clear the smoke.
Fire. You know it's Boogie, and I'm back. It's the big one, yeah. It's the big one. The place on fire. Boogie come again. The place on fire.
Marshall,
Fire.
Good thing, man. Good thing.
You know it's
all
Boogie.
the Grenadians, big up all the Grenadians listening.
It's the big one.
All the Grenadians in the house.
The place on fire. Boogie come again. The place on fire. Tell it to your face. The place on fire. Boogie come again. The place on fire. Leaving them in flames. Last day after the season, I get to know how carnival nice. So I come back again this year to see if they going to give me a prize. So much big cake I see they shell last year. I didn't get a slice, but to show them that they can hold me down this year, spinning me dice. Why? Last say I won the fire. This say I blaze again. Taking the level higher. I'm going to make them shame. They cannot see my talent because they vision, yeah. They go see when the smoke clear. Everybody clear the smoke. The place on fire. Clear the smoke. He come again. Clear the smoke. The place on fire. Clear the smoke. Leaving them in flames. Clear the smoke. The place on fire. Clear the smoke. He come again. Clear the smoke. The place on fire. Clear the smoke. Leaving them in flames. Wait, I'll be fans, Becky, fans, killer, fans, CP, fans, Sato, dance, put up hands. You know this is reality. Put up jersey, put up pants, start to jump like you win hands. Let the smoke and wave on negligence. Listen, last year them fellas set me up, and I know the reason why. I was born in the fire too much, and the smoke was in the eye. They get away, you see this year, they have no more tricks to try. Cause I'm going to bring all what's in the darkness right back out to the light. See Talbury boss 3 time on stage, they say he and Boogie tie. Between me, them, and Talbury, we all know that they lie. So I come tonight and asking all they to please give me the blind. For they not to do me them thing again, clear the smoke from the eye. Clear the smoke, the place on fire. Clear the smoke, Boogie come again. Clear the smoke, the place on fire. Clear the smoke, leaving them in flames. Clear the smoke, the place on fire. Clear the smoke, Boogie come again. Clear the smoke, the place on fire. Clear the smoke. And Talbury fans, Becky fans, Killer fans, Sheldon fans, start to dance, put up hands, cause you know this is reality. Put up jersey, put up pants, start to jump like you win hands. Clear the smoke and wave on negligence. Everybody know. Clear it,
So of course,
clear it. Michael and they can come there.
the thing is that, I mean, all this time and stuff, this is around the time and stuff, like all the record deals starting to fall for, you know, the Bajans, the Grenadians, the Bajans and stuff. The international artists and stuff, and saying record deals and those kinds of stuff. The rise of the small island music and that kind of stuff is happening at this time. Tappery, bam, 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 and that kind of stuff. The sound of the small island music and all those kinds of things are happening, and that kind of stuff, influencing Trinidad music and that kind of stuff, and back and forth, and those kind of things. And the Soca Monarch, of course, influencing all of those things and that kind of stuff. So we have all that happening, and that back and forth and all those things and that kind of thing, and the internationalization of the sound and those kinds of things is at the heart of what Shock is trying to reach for. In all of that mix, on Shock's Mr. Benjamin album, which he puts out, remember he did Bad Naras album earlier on and that kind of stuff, and then he does a Mr. Benjamin album, is this particular track, which will big up in the next year, but which again, I'll play the track and we go talk about it after and stuff.
Well, this is a love story with a difference. They say good things come to those who wait. At least that's what my grandmama told me.
Baby girl, you know that your body looks so fine. The stylish shape, the clothes you wear, still can't see them in my mind. For me to conquer you, it would have to take some time. It would only take that moment.
big up all the boy bands in Trinidad and Tobago, you know, starting with H2O Flow, you know, New Creation, Blackmail, all the boy bands, you know, that have been able to make an impact and do their stuff, you know what I mean? Now, this particular Surge had the fortune of having Shel-Shok to do their track, and then Eldon Purnell, you know, along with Mark Cropper doing their video. If they didn't understand that was magic, that they had hit a sweet spot there, that they had gotten three of the greatest collaborators who could have hit you inside that R&B hip hop crossover pocket and that kind of stuff, who understood those things and stuff. I mean, yeah, everybody was doing that. Everybody was doing the dance. You know what I mean? It was amazing, you know what I mean? So, big up Shock and stuff, taking it into that space, giving that band, you know, wings. Now, we heard what Marshall did there with Dance With You in 2005, right? 2005, 2006. With a Bayesian act, he now does this. He says, Shock says it's one of the biggest songs in his career. And because the Bayesians know how to mainstream stuff and to take it everywhere. This is the counterpart to Dance With You in terms of taking it international, making soca speak pop. You all know this one. Big tune. So people start to appreciate up the Caribbean and everything, what Shock brings to the stuff and that kind of thing. And he's now found this kind of way to cross over this stuff by being strictly being soca, just being soca, but finding that ability and that production style and that groove and that kind of stuff and that finesse and that shine to be able to cross it over. And he starts to get these collaborators all over because through Marshall and all this kind of thing. So this track is a kind of takeoff from the Marshall track, but this is now the Jamaicans entering the picture and that kind of stuff and thing, and of course taking it even further because of the reach that they have and that kind of stuff and thing. I talk about Genie Wine and Mr. Vegas. This is Dance With You, that track, but now flexing at the front of the Dance With You almost becomes a rhythm now. It's a flex up. Coming close now. In 2 years' time, Shel-Shok will no longer be with us. I was in the studio in the house when he was working on this song with Mr. Vegas. I was there as he was fleshing it out and it was doing all the kind of stuff and things. Vegas had now come with the vocals that he thought he whatever and that kind of stuff, and they were running it and that kind of stuff. So we have him for 2 more years, huh? We only have him for 2 more years. Did we understand what was going on? Roll it, girl. All of this drops and that kind of stuff, and I tell you, in 2 years' time, we don't have Shel-Shok anymore. The next year comes 2007. And again, just like Benjai, you can't do worse and you can't do better than having Shel-Shok do your first song. And Patrice.
Toko Shum.
wrap this show within the silence that we have, and we have 3 more songs, before we close it off here. So 2007, 10th anniversary of Shok working with Krikana, right? And he drops this song, which again this is the next one of the 3 great songs that he does with Trikanal that kind of changes the stuff and foregrounds and Rapso again and puts Rapso back inside the equation, and which takes the music also into a different place and that kind of stuff. It's a remarkable song. Let's check it out and we talk about it on the flip side.
What's going on? 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 What's going on?
Amazing song, and Kanal themselves, like, this was kind of Shok giving them this track, kind of gave them this track to work with, and tell them what they could do with that, and well, this is the result of Shok doing that, Kachi was able to get the grant. You was able to get the grant. The last grant, 2008.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a grant here. I think I see it somewhere about there.
All
I'm
right.
trying to get it as we're talking here.
All right. So 2008. This is the last. This is the last year. This is the last year that we have with him as a producer. Now I'm telling you, I started off the program last week by saying that, and I had to start off like that because if we don't learn this lesson, and if we continue as we are, then we will pay even more daily. You know, Shock made millions and millions for plenty of people. He made a lot of money for people. He made, changed the course of the thing. If you had to kind of computize his contribution to the festival and to Trinidad and Tobago economy, we might be running into, we be running into hundreds of millions of dollars. This 40-year-old youth, this youth from 20 to age 20 to age 40 contributed to the economy of Trinidad and Tobago by these songs, these 300 plus hits that he dropped and that kind of stuff that changed the course of the festival in all kinds of ways, bring the youths into the thing and into the dance, into the carnival, change the demographics, change all kinds of stuff, modernize the thing, give us an international profile and ability and tones and stuff, and change the thing, just change the thing, modernize everything. 5 times he changes and stuff. None of them people, he was visibly sick. For at least 2 years, on stage with people, nobody, we can't do that. We can't do that. We cannot do that. Right? Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is a dread form of cancer, and who's to say that if we had arrested it early and caught it early, that there was a chance that he might have been able to be healed, or if he could have been around longer, or whatever. We don't know. What we do know is that for years he was visibly ill, and nobody cared enough to get him to the doctor, say like Shel-Shok. Let me stop all of this, what we're doing and the whatever, and let me get you into there. And that shouldn't happen. And the dollar and the other things can't be that primary, that that the human being that is at the source of the thing, that the human being is lost in all this stuff. And so I have to say that again, because that is one of the lessons coming out of the whole thing. We lost one of the greatest talents ever in the civilization, because of a kind of selfishness and a blindness and a tunnel vision and all the things and whatever. We're just saying that we can't allow it to ever happen again. We cannot, He was an incredible light. He changed the things enormous times, and this is my and our way of saying thank you, to that spirit that passed with this thing. Right, so I had to think. I know you say like, Rudy, gosh, boy, you had to get it, like, but yeah, man, because it's real. We're celebrating a man's death, a man who was here and who left us, and the way that happened is significant, and we have to talk about that, and we have to do better for all of us and all of us. 2008, the last year we have with Shel-Shok, Mr. Vegas and Destra team up and do this shit. Well,
she dig so. When she starts sing her hit so, she remind me of Shel-Shok. I see that bumper rolling right out of control. I see the cops them patrolling, not even them can stop it from rolling. In a little cute dress, fellas, do you like it? Yes, easy access. Tell her that girl is best. She got style, she got class, and I know nothing holding back. Na 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 na.
You see me whining on the floor. This is why I make you want to see more. The way the stars going up and down, ain't nothing holding this down. When me rock and come in slow, and then me whine and me dip so. And when me start swing me hips so, you forget about J-Lo. You see this bumper rolling right out of control. I see the cops them patrolling, not even them can stop this from rolling. In a little cute dress, fellas, do you like it?
Yes, Missy.
Easy access, tell you this body is best. I got style, I got class, and I know nothing holding this.
Latin thing was never far away from. I feel like that was one of the ways that Shok got to kind of internationalize the sound. There's something about the way that he was able to Trinidad swing was by combining Latin roll on the bass with the attitude of the Jamaican bass line. And as I was saying before, the pan bass, he really was, it was almost like, if you listen, it's because it's pure rhythm that Shok was composing with. It's not conventional arrangements of guitar, bass, drums, and it's not that at all. It's all tones, it's all pan. It's pan. It's basically, that's what he was arranging like a pan. That's what he was arranging like, you know. And the Latin stuff with the Jamaican attitude, I think, gave him the way in to how to get a Trinidad song, you know. Clutchy was able to get that hunting spree from Grant.
Nah, that's fine.
All right. So okay, we wrapping up. There was a song I wanted to get, Hunting Spree by General Grant, because I wanted to get full circle. Grant was the first act in 92, you know, and here we are now in 2008. And that was one of the final songs that he did was that song with Grant, right? And so there you have it. I mean, we just played about 40 songs of the 300 that Sheldon Benjamin, the man called Shel-Shok, dropped. Let us remember where it all started.
Did you know? This Janika flow. Did you know? This Janika damn well flow. Did you know? This Janika flow. Did you know? Stop, bring the intro. Stop, it just come again, and we bring a brand new vibe, a brand new style of rap, so from a brand new type of tribe. Take the drum of Africa and give it all we paid. Feel the vibe of a rap, they going down the landslide lane.
This is where it all began. Big up Robert Amar, Steve Susan, Jonah Foon, Gary Daw. So what
You can get me to stop with a run of applause. I don't give a damn. I think what the back, someone like you. Who can sing but you a song?
good love, me penalize and charge for sweetness. Run things. Now
Point Kumana in the house. Karen Hatch.
Here we go wrong the mulberry bush. I make a wait until them come watch it. Then the love enough it die. Enough it die. Then the love enough it. Enough it. Enough it die. Then the love enough it die. Enough it die. Then the love enough it die. 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 Die.
It started.
What's the explosion?
Caravan.
See all my enemy them. Ambush me, I go get them problem. Ambush, see all my enemy them. I go and rock where you find, rip where your sister. It's a long time now, this is a don't make king. But they couldn't find while I was in the high bush living. And all this time for shation overtaking. And I envy little you, but the entertainment tell the who that in touch rules with. But right, you know, the man is a whole epoch killing one sugi and for the man call. You with a fine name. Dress up in a suit, in a plush carpet. Bring him back in family screaming.
Lorenz in the house. One more Kindred. Hip hop tip. Go front in the house. Picking up where it all began. No rapping. We rapping 2 programs, 40 something songs over the 300 plus by the genius Shel-Shok who trained me to music at least 5 times. All these different moods of music that enable us to have. These were not mainstream moods of Trinidad and Tobago music. They did not exist. We were not in the mainstream. There was not a mainstream musical language and production language for the way that youths and stuff were writing until Shel-Shok gave us it. Until Shock. These things don't exist. Soca, everything changes.
Carnival Monday night and your music.
Rap so winning Soca Monarch.
What you gonna do? Jump started. Push start.
People start to write actual songs for power. Actual songs. Big Truck will appear 4 years after. How ancient that is tens of thousand years ago in motherland. Yeah, that is. Just wrapping up here. This one. So, for myself, Ribadiri Victor, from Selector Klachi, from Radio Toko, from Sheldon Mano, who helped founded Indigenous team with me on the Artist Coalition of Trinidad and Tobago, as, oh gosh, boy, Klachi boy. It's like, I mean, we have, Indigenous is created to bring the local underground to the foreground, right? We mainstream the local underground and globalize Trinbago sound. This is the place for all the Trinidad and Tobago music that normally you never get to hear. Trinidad and Tobago rock, pop, R&B, zest, hip hop, dub, rap. So all them styles and stuff that the other 36 radio stations are playing, we play it right here on 9 to 11 every single Thursday on Radio Toko. That's what we do, right? We bring that to you. But we also do things like this because the songs that we've been hearing, this is mainstream Trinidad and Tobago stuff. But the sensibility was underground. It was the risk of Robert Amaro to bring all these things to the surface. Hardly any of these artists and any of these songs would have ever been heard by Trinidad and Tobago if it was not for Robert Amar and all those things, and if it was not for Shel-Shok and his commitment to the sound, to the integrity of the song. And that's what we will remember him here as a fundamental. That same boy who was at Disco Track and that same boy who just loved sound and the integrity of it and stuff. Why you refuse people and say, nah, I can't work with you and that kind of stuff. That song ain't right. I mean, because the song. And he honored all those songs and he brought it in the way, as I said, first track by Patrice, first track by Benjai. Bam, all of them tracks hitting one time. You know what I mean? Take third base song and he make it, you know what I mean? And all them tracks, all them artists, we never heard any of them before. The first ones hit off the bat, tens of thousands of people, the whole nation moving. You know what I mean? People filling up stadiums. That's a tribute to the man, a tribute to the boy. That was Shel-Shok, the man who loved fast cars, who loved to race, who loved his ride, who loved all those things, who had attitude, all those kind of things, like to spend his money, like his gay, like his things and those kind of things. All that was Shocky, right? Sheldon Benjamin, we love him, man. Thank you for the music, thank you for the music, thank you for the music. You know? You know what I mean? You keep doing for us, you did it for us. 300 songs strong, you know, less than 20 years, in your 40 years, your adult life, you did that for us and stuff. And that's the least that we could do was do this show and give back this vibes to, and I'm sure in the future, out of that 300, we could do our next Shok tribute and play a whole next set of songs and stuff and flex our next set of songs inside our mix and stuff and approach it from a different angle. But we want all of you to remember, we who are still here, we have responsibilities to one another. Stay safe, and let me see everybody up on the North Coast on the 20th now. The Great Toko Bake Off, Indigenous TNT Radio Toko for the 24th anniversary of Radio Toko. This is a whole thing from Sandy Grande to Matlot, Toko down the Miaro stretch. You know what I mean? This is the best bakers, cooks and stuff all coming and flexing. Order, you could call, order 797-0949 is one of the numbers that you could call. Pre-order, pick up your stuff at the numerous pickup spots they have. Do a road trip or ask them to deliver it to you and you could get delivery within the area. You know what I mean? But come out on the 20th and taste the hand of the best of Toko and the Northeast Coast. Right? Run the ad, let people hear it, they're clutchy.
Hashtag RT106724. Yes, on November 1st, 2021, we at Radio Toko 106.7 FM are celebrating our 24th anniversary of broadcasting. And to celebrate the occasion, we are joining forces with Indigenous TT to present the Great Toko Bake Off, Saturday 20th November. You heard it right, the Great Toko Bake Off, where we're showcasing the culinary skills of Jessica, Lady Jane Murray, and Chef Michael Shornett, and some of the best bakers on the Northeast Coast. We're talking about black fruit cake, coconut bake, sponge cake, coconut bran bread, whole grain bread, sweet bread, tart, banana bread, pone, drops. And wait, that is not all. You could also order Empress Gary's special bacon shack or buljol made with Toko Fisher Folks salted fish. And the best part of all of this is that you get a chance to taste all of this baked goodness by pre-ordering and curbside pickup on Saturday 20th November. Plan a road trip, enjoy the picturesque northeastern scenery, catch a breath of salty air. Or we could deliver to you. Be part of the Great Toko Bake Off, Saturday 20th November. Hashtag RT106724. Radio Toko 106.7 FM celebrating 24 years of broadcasting, and we celebrating until the end of the year. For more information and to pre-order, WhatsApp 753-1810 or 797-0949. Sponsored in part by National Flour Mills, Coconut Growers Association, ATM Media, and Z's Cleaning Supplies.
Yeah, we want to big up NFM and all our sponsors and that kind of stuff that are enabling the Great Toko Bake Off to happen. And, you know, I'm your boy, Rupajiri Victor. And across the way, yeah, is Selector Krabby, you know. And, you know, we've been privileged to have been bringing you the two-part series, tribute to Sheldon Benjamin, aka Shel-Shok, one of the greatest music producers in the Caribbean. And, you know, 300 plus hits in his 40 years here with us. And we just listening to some of them. We resume normal service from next week. We're back to the underground. Real people have been sending music to us. We have a backlog of real music coming at you and that kind of stuff. Trinidad and Tobago rock, pop, reggae, dub, R&B, hip hop, the whole styles upon styles upon styles, the styles that you're not hearing on them other 36 radio station, Fireburn, all them radio programmers and all them people and stuff and thing that fighting on local culture and that kind of stuff. The excellence and the genius of Trinidad and Tobago music, that's why you tune into Indigenous 9 to 11 every Thursday here on Radio Toko. Right? Over and out. Thanks a lot. You know what I mean? Shel-Shok, rest in peace, brother. Respect.